Well, hello again. Welcome everybody back to the Wright Report. This is Mervin Wright again. I'm joined with my boy Dezuel. What's good, homie?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Y'all understand something. When you see this, understand there's a lot that has happened in the background that let's just say mistakes have been made today, and I'm glad this is finally getting up. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about the NCAA and everything going on with them in college football, and we're going to talk about the NBA and everything that's going on there, and a couple quick hits before we get out. So starting with the NCAA, obviously, as most of you know, college football, they're having a lot of stuff going on. There's a few conferences canceling their season or postponing them until the spring. We have the Big Ten and the Pac-12 kind of at the forefront of that, especially being Power 5 conferences. The ACC, Big 12, and SEC are planning on playing this fall, and then they're still planning on playing the playoffs. So we're just going to talk about that. So, Dez, what are your thoughts on everything that's going on?
Makes no sense. Makes no sense. I have no idea what's going on. Let's just put that disclaimer. No one knows what the crap is going on. Almost Kirsch's did. That's how frustrating this all is. Like it may. How do you plan on having this season with one, a selection of conferences? You don't have everybody. You're only using a few conferences. Right. You know, you're gonna have players opting in and out. I'm sure. Someone's gonna get COVID. Someone's getting COVID. You know, who's going to be? Because I know at 18 and 19, we kind of talked about it before. You know, my house used to be jumping. You remember, come on now. Right. You remember, man, we used to, call Nick Jones. You know what I'm saying? All right. We used to be crazy. So what 18 and 19, 20-year-old, is in college, not going to be partying, not going to pull up to, some girl's house, not going, you know what I'm saying? Right. We saw in the NFL. They can't even do it. We got the Seahawks players got cut because he wanted to sneak shorty in. Like, come on, man. And that's into their bubble. So you can't control 18, 19, 20. Not saying, obviously, kids can be logical too, but not everybody's going to be logical. Not everybody's going to be logical. Especially if I ain't getting no playing time anyway. You know what I'm saying?
And you mentioned that you talk about, just starting off with 18, 19, 20-year-olds, just going back to the situation we know at UH. We know what dorm those players stayed in, and that was the same one you stayed in. We know how many parties were going on. And
right.
Hey, look, can't tell you how many nights I was at your place till 4 o'clock in the morning. You know,
the RA used to party with us. The RA used to come to party with us. She on the clock.
So you talk about let's talk about the organizations that are in bubbles. NFL quasi bubbles. In their
right
hotels or whatever, close to their facilities, or at the very least until training camp. NBA obviously in the bubble. NHL in the bubble. MLS was in the bubble. MLB has shown what happens when you're not in the bubble and
right
on the hotel bars and go out, doing whatever.
And don't forget boxing and MMA. MMA was on like Fight Island. Boxing, we did the MGM in Vegas. At least ESPN side of it did. We did the bubble in Vegas for like 2 months straight, actually.
Right. So and you talk about the UFC, they're on a whole island. So
yeah, they literally went to an island and named it Fight Island.
Right. Like they've shown that the bubbles work, and you look at, let's just keep it in the same sport. NFL,
right.
Once September rolls around and those final rosters are cut down, it's 53 plus your practice squad, so 70 people at the most as far as players. College football team, we've seen what a football sideline looks like. It's about 100 people down there, plus coaches, plus trainers, plus everybody else. And so you talk about that many people, it's no way you can, really keep those guys, in a bubble. And you take into account that, okay, some guys might live on campus, some guys might live off campus, some guys live in the dorm, some guys have girlfriends, some guys have a lady friend that they're entertaining that thinks they're their girlfriend because they're a meal ticket. You don't know what the whole situation is, and it's really hard to lock down, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. You talk about it, these guys might – they might not have the most common sense, but they smart. And one thing I know about a teenager fresh out of high school, a couple years in college, they'll figure out a way to get something done, without – and they'll get it done real quick, and you might not know about it. And you'll find out if somebody, pops up on a test. And so with that being said, it's really hard for me to think of a way that, the college football season in the fall can go on, with numbers still looking like they are. You look at the hot spots, and you can almost correlate those with some of the biggest programs. You look at Texas. Okay, well that
Right.
counts for Texas and A&M and Texas Tech. You look at Alabama, Tuscaloosa, bam. Oklahoma had a bunch of cases. You go to the ACC. South Carolina, they probably had a bunch of cases. Florida, Florida. I think they said Florida is the epicenter not only of the country but of the world at one point, and they have the ACC and the SEC in that state. So you look at that. I don't see a safe way to get this done.
Like this frustrates me. You know what I'm saying? Like it truly actually frustrates me. And I want to ask you a question about, what I really want to say? I don't understand why guys like Trevor Lawrence want to play so bad.
Right.
I don't understand, not to switch the thing, but I don't understand why guys like Trevor Lawrence want to play so bad when you're already the solidified number one pick. There is no one going before you. This is a fact. You don't have to play another down in college football, but you're over here begging to play. We want to play. Bro, why are you risking that injury?
Right.
Right. Not just COVID. Not even just COVID. You have a way to get out. You can opt out and not play under umbrella of COVID. You could say that because it's COVID. When really, hey, man, I just don't want to risk taking a hit.
Yeah. And we'd all know that's what you meant. We'd all know.
Come on. And who's going to be mad at you, bro? I'm not finna. What, Dabo? Ain't nobody worried about Dabo.
Okay. Dabo can get somebody else.
And Dabo got quarterbacks. He better get a transfer or something. No.
Like, okay.
I don't understand why guys like him who have nothing else to prove still want to play. Bro, I would be sitting back, getting ready for the combine. I'd be paying my trainers, whoever I got to, pay, get me right, get my body right. Hey, we're going pro, man. We're going pro. That's been my whole focus.
I'll give you the case of one football player, Ed Oliver. He got hurt and said, all right, that's it. I'm a top 10 draft pick. I'm not coming back. Look, Houston, thank you. I love you.
He wasn't coming back after the jacket incident. To be honest with you. But
that too. But, he was a highly touted recruit, decided to stay home,
right.
And said, all right, look, he played those first 2 years. That third year, he got hurt, and it was like, well, I'm going to the league next year anyway. I'm done. And so, you see those players, you see players most of the time play the season out. But then they get to that bowl game, and if it's not something, big name, at the very least, something like an Outback Bowl, Gator Bowl, stuff like that. If it's not, New Year's 6, they're like, I'm going to the league next year anyway. I'm not finna risk getting hurt through, these however many practices in this game. That means absolutely nothing. So, like you, I don't see why Trevor Lawrence would say he wants to play. I don't see, at the very least, Trevor Lawrence does have that chance to play.
Right.
Take it another level, we had Justin Fields just come out and put his thing out there and say, okay, having that petition, which is getting signed by a whole bunch of people, which I hate to break it to you, I hate to break trouble, ain't gonna mean nothing, because the ACC and the Big Ten is still not gonna play. But you have that coming out, and Justin Fields, he might not be Trevor Lawrence, but he's high enough up there. He's gonna be a solid draft pick. I can understand why he wants to play, but I'm like you, look, okay, it's a high enough risk as is. Let's not add COVID to the list of things that could take you out to decrease your draft stock and cost you millions of dollars.
Right, I completely agree. And that's kind of what I was saying with Trevor Lawrence. Like, why risk any of this? But Justin, I know because he's trying to do it. He got the petition going and everything. He has like 200,000 signatures or whatever. That's great. But again, sometimes we got to save people from themselves.
Right.
Sometimes we got to save people from themselves. And I just think that's what the situation is. At least until the NCAA provides some solidified idea of how they're going to keep people safe, how they're going to keep – because that's what the NBA did. They just said, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this bubble. We're going to test. I watched it with boxing. They literally got tested every day. You walked in, you were tested. You were – like, it was crazy with everything they were doing to make that work. You were in there. You weren't going back out. You know what I mean? You weren't – matter of fact, one fighter had to fight. His dad was there because as a trainer or whatever. His dad leaves the bubble for whatever reason, comes back. He had to do the fight without his dad. Yeah. Like, there's sacrifices that have to be made. So until the NCAA solidifies how they're going to do this for real and give me some real safety updates and how they're playing, no, I don't care if Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, or some freshman that just walked on. No. We got to make this work. And then again, going into deeper, kind of, it's going to be an asterisk on a championship anyway.
And I think
being real.
you kind of mentioned it. You talked about, players essentially protecting themselves from themselves, and it's kind of I think this all kind of falls under the umbrella of liability on the part of the schools and the conferences and the NCAA. I think that they're pretty much watching out. They have to watch out for themselves, especially in a case like this. They're already losing enough money as is, and so what
Right.
you don't need is 18, 19-year-old, perfect health, no underlying
Hmm.
health issues that nobody knows about. They get sick, they unfortunately die. If that's my child, the athletic hallway will be named after me after this is all said. Named after
You'll
me.
have a whole wing.
That will, hey, look, I'm suing the coach, I'm suing the president, I'm suing the conference, I'm suing the NCAA, and
Right.
I'm suing it personally because, and that's just what I would do as a parent. And so, these parents understand this. Yeah, they had them sign waivers, but you get a good enough lawyer, and that waiver is going to mean next to nothing.
It's gonna be paperwork. That's all it is. It'll be toilet paper.
Again, there's a thing called negligence, and me and you learned about that working at the rec. And Mills will say that all the time. Like, okay, if I can prove you're negligent and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, I think that was Florida State that had players get in trouble from the program because they were highlighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're telling us not to do what we're supposed to do, or they're okay with us not doing what we're supposed to do, and they don't care. And you see that, and that's just what we hear about. Which you see
Right.
things where you hear about one thing, there's a few other out there that are like, "Ooh, glad it wasn't us on the news," them talking about it. So,
Right.
you got that stuff going on. The conferences are doing the conferences that are at least playing, in the fall, or no, in the spring. The Big Ten, the Pac-12, the FCS conferences, the few Group of Five conferences that are moving on. I know it's like the Mountain West and a couple other conferences. They're doing the right thing. They want to play. Like nobody is saying we don't want you to play football. Like we love football. That is America's thing. Baseball is not America's pastime anymore. It's watching football games on Saturdays and Sundays in the fall. We want to see it, but we can't put your lives at risk more than you already are, on a weekly basis.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I say, everybody does want to play football. We all want to see football. We all want to. I mean, you never gonna hear me say I'm not trying to watch no football. Okay, we're from Texas. That's what we do. That's religion. All right, God, family, football. But at the end of the day, safety's got to come first. I really, until the NCAA solidifies how they're gonna do this safely, I personally really would rather not see anybody on the field. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I just don't see until the NCAA figures it all out. I don't see where this truly works out and we get a full season. I don't see that happening. So at least push it to the spring, man. At least push it to the spring. Hopefully, these rates go down. People stop smoking hookah all the time at the hookah bars and stuff every night. Maybe some rates will go down, but that's a different conversation.
Right. And I think that one of the big things that's kind of been in my head thinking about this whole thing is there's really no central figurehead when it comes to football.
Right.
You have Mark Emmert, who's the president of the NCAA, and he makes the decisions for pretty much every other sport, the basketball, the baseball, the swimming, the track, whatever. But when it comes to football, for some reason, it's not the same thing. And I don't understand why that is. I mean, yeah, football is a different beast than every other program. And outside of basketball, football funds every other program at a school. And so, you have that aspect of it as well. But when it comes to football, you have the conference commissioners making the decisions. That's why you have the Big Ten and the Pac-12 say, okay, we're out. But the ACC, Big 12, and ACC can say, okay, you know what? That's cool. Happy for you. Good luck in the spring. We're still playing. And I think one thing that would kind of alleviate a lot of these issues is if, you had one central figurehead, even if it's a different person saying, okay, look, I'm going to run football, even if it's just the Power 5, Group of 5, and that's it.
Right.
And Mark Emmert can make the decisions for the rest of, the FCS and everybody else. Even if you have that, that's great, because what you don't want, a situation like this, where, okay, 2 teams are out, 3 teams are in, you got teams saying, okay, well, if my conference says we're not playing, I'm going to play in another conference, looking at you, Scott Frost, so you don't have those issues. You need that one guy just to make those decisions and say, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Right.
And, we got, problems with it. We can vote about it. We can discuss it. We can talk about it. But we all need to be on the same page so that we don't have an issue like this, and kind of segue so we don't have an issue like we have with the playoffs that are planned for the end of the year where, okay, you got 3 conferences playing, 2 of them are out. And so how are we feasibly going to have a legitimate playoff and a championship? There's no way that works to me with only 3 conferences.
Yeah, for me, there's no legit champion to me with this specific season. It's not like the NBA where at least every team that was supposed to be eligible for that playoff run, or at least an attempt to get in, they were there. Did players opt out? Yes, but every team was available. You know what I mean? So that's legit. I don't have a feel. Whoever wins the championship in the NBA, I feel like they still won a championship. You know what I mean? They play legit ball. They're in a bubble situation. You're only missing a couple of players, more so the entire teams, entire conferences being gone. Right. Like, it's like you took the entire, AL West and just got rid of them. Like, that's not legit to me. So I don't know. I don't like that idea and Dabo was kind of like, oh, somebody's gonna have to play, so somebody's gonna be on. It's gonna be a champion one way or another. It's like, yeah, but and I know that ain't gonna be no legit. I'm gonna say, you're not the real champion. Yeah. You're not the real champion.
It's watered down, but and we were kind of talking about it earlier. Okay, let's be real here. Oklahoma's winning the Big 12. Joe Burrow's gone, so it's probably gonna be Alabama winning the SEC again. And
right.
He's gonna run away with the ACC. Let's be honest here. So that's 3 automatics. Okay, what are we gonna do if we do go on with this and everything runs according to plan? What are we gonna do about that 4th spot? My thought is, okay, add the American Conference or somebody. Even I don't care if it's American, the big, the Mountain West.
Some non-Power 5 that is legit. Right. Yeah.
Because we've seen in recent years where, you look at, Houston at the beginning of, the transition to the college football playoff, and then UCF for the past few years. You look at teams like that, you look at Boise State, you look at Memphis who, was beating Ole Miss on a regular basis. There are teams out there, okay, look, obviously everybody's not Alabama, obviously everybody's not, LSU, everybody's not Texas, but, these are decent schools, and at the very least, you can give them a shot and see what happens. This is a weird year anyway, so you don't know what's going to happen.
Right. You really don't. This would be a good time to maybe test out some waters. Okay, maybe who are some teams we should probably be moving to a bigger conference, or maybe we should make another big conference, make a Power 6 instead of a Power 5. You remember that was kind of rolling around 2015, 2016. Right. Maybe this is a great time to do it. Great, since everything's already kind of jacked up, might as well test some waters. But let's be real. It's the NCAA. All they're going to do is throw in Alabama and make sure Auburn gets in there too or something. Right. Some SEC, it's going to –
like, don't get me wrong. Most of the stuff that's happened this year in terms of sports, I've liked. I like, we're going to talk about the NBA. I like how they're doing it. I don't necessarily like how baseball is doing it, but it's working. And for the most part, if people can, just stay in their hotel rooms, it's working. I'm good with the NFL having their little bubbles or whatever. But, what the NCAA is doing is just not, it's not working for me. It just gives me the vibe of, okay, like how when baseball, after a week end, like a few days, they were telling TV partners, hey, you might want to prepare some programming just in case we shut this thing down.
Right.
That was them, and that was grown men, like grown men. This is 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. Hey, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds don't make the wisest decisions all the time. They make some of them, but they're not going to make all of them. And this just gives me the feeling and the essence of, this is Big 12 commissioner. We're going to join you, Big 10 commissioner, and we're going to play in the spring too. Oh, and ACC and the SEC just said the same thing. They just told me to tell y'all. So y'all know we're going to have a playoff in the spring and not the fall. That's what's going to happen. It's what's going to have to happen because it's not going to work out. It's not going to work in the fall. I wanted to. More than anything, I wanted to. But I don't see a way where it happens.
This is supposed to be the best time of year. This Christmas for me. When football comes back, this Christmas for me. This is the best time of the year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Like,
I think that every August and September, I'll be like, man, that song's about Christmas. But to me, the best time of the year is
football.
Football season. Friday.
I want to see this, man, but again, it's not going to work in the fall. It's not, you're going to be starting. Every week's going to be an issue. Which player's going to be in there? Which player's not going to be in there? Oh man, they need to push it back. The NCAA just to, I know we got to move on to solidify. The NCAA needs to solidify how they're going to do it,
Right.
what rules and precautions everything they're going to set up, and then how to keep this thing going without it stopping halfway through the season or 3 weeks in or whatever. Because again, you look at Auburn. I think Auburn had 33 players, man, test for COVID. Another school had like 19. Like that's not simple. That's not simple fixes. That's not one person and you kick them out. No, that's 33 people, bro.
Right.
And that's the ones that you caught.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ones you caught now. So what about those? So when you get on the field against Alabama,
right.
Now Alabama, maybe they were clean coming in. Now they get one. By the end of the week, they got 33 cases. Like, come on, bro. This is too much.
You know what? I'm glad you said it because that's exactly what happened in baseball. You had the Marlins. One person got it, or however many people got it, didn't know, playing the Phillies, and then after a while, a couple of them get sick. You look at, the Central, and I think it was the Cardinals. They had a couple people get sick. Boom, it spread, like a virus does in that clubhouse, and it even got other people sick. And so you look at
right.
It's the same thing with football. One person doesn't know. And the worst thing that can happen is it's a lineman. Lineman isn't, obviously lineman, there's no such thing as social distancing, when we're this close to each other and I'm trying to keep you off my quarterback. All I got to do is accidentally cough, and that's it. That's it. You're going to go back to your sideline, high-fiving, good play, spread. It's going to spread, and that's the worst. I know that's a bad scenario, and I know I'm being pessimistic here, but that's what I'm seeing when I think about a college football season happening with numbers still looking like they are right now.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, some more time, like I said, I'm not expecting nothing. Yeah. I'm not expecting too much from this. I think that we'll get it. It'll start. It'll stop. And then, pick it back up in the spring.
And to be fair, I hope I'm wrong. I hope both of us are dead wrong. I hope we have egg on our face. I hope we have to pull this video up as an apology to the NCAA and say, okay, look, we're wrong. We're sorry. Y'all got it right. We're glad to see y'all. I hope so.
But when has the NCAA ever gotten it right?
You're right. 100%. Question of the
Next segment. End the conversation. Next segment.
NCAA ever gotten it right. You're right. So moving on, talking about the NBA. I'm sorry. Still in my head. NBA and the bubble in Orlando. The playoffs have started. We had a lot going on. We saw the play-in this past weekend with Portland and Memphis. We saw the Suns go 8-0 and miss the playoffs. We saw the Wizards somehow, drop a couple spots, to teams who weren't even playing because they kept getting beat so much they shouldn't have even been there. And then we have the novelty and the nuance of this NBA playoffs with there's really no home court advantage. So I just want to know your thoughts on everything going into it.
I mean, first of all, I've truly enjoyed the NBA in this bubble situation, man. The competitiveness that I've seen, the surprises we've seen, TJ Warren, bro, what? Like Devin Booker, bro, Dame Dollar, it's crazy, man. I love what I'm seeing basketball-wise, man. I love how Adam Silver approached the coronavirus situation with the safety of it and making sure that they got everything. There hasn't been any cases, hasn't been any crazy like the MLB kind of situations. So I love what's going on with the NBA, but just purely basketball, bro. This is some of the best basketball we've seen in a long time, man. It looks like these guys are having fun. You know what I mean? Like I think that element, it's almost like being at the rec. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They hoop like they at the rec. If anybody went to college, the rec is where you're gonna hoop. Yeah, that's where you go. That's where you find out who can hoop, who can't, who they do, who talking, what party is gonna be at. That's the rec feeling, and that's what I feel watching the basketball now. Some of the best basketball I've seen from a lot of different players, a lot of different teams we didn't even expect. Like I said, like the TJ Warrens and all that. Devin Booker and Phoenix going 8-0. Like, come on, dude. Yeah. Now, taking it further, though, I mean, the playoffs, Lakers Trailblazers, that's going to be tough, I mean, I was hard. Actually, let me start because the Nuggets Jazz game today was absolutely amazing.
Right.
Yo, Murray and Jokic running that two-man game today was wonderful. And then, of course, you got Spider Mitchell coming out and putting up, what was this, 50, 57? 57? Yeah, like, bro, you almost hit a 60 piece. Like, he missed his last shot. That would have been the 60 piece, yo. That's Jordan numbers, dude. That's Jordan playoff numbers.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You gotta love this basketball we're seeing right now.
This is some of the best basketball I've seen, in a while. And it started from, game one for pretty much everybody. I mean, just looking personally, you look at the Mavs, they came out, and as much as I hate it, that was a wild game with Houston, being up 7, 45 seconds left, and then blowing the lead in overtime. You have stuff like that. The Mavericks and the Clippers are, playing their series starting, later on. Two of the highest offensive efficiencies in the league. I'm pretty sure they're 1 and 2. Number 1 and number 2 in offensive efficiency. You got series like that. You got series like, you mentioned Portland and LA, and the way Portland, came and just kind of, set everything on fire. First of all, I need to make an apology to Melo because I thought he was done.
I kept trying to tell you, bro, Melo was not done, bro. It was systematic. It was systematic against him. Melo was never done.
I thought Melo was done after, coming to Houston. And
the Rockets needed a scapegoat, man.
My thing with Melo was, okay, he can come off the bench, but he ain't no starter. Melo, if you ever see this, understand Mervin Wright says he's sorry. He's sorry for doubting you. He's sorry for saying that about you. I apologize.
Know anything about Mervin? That fool did not say sorry, so he mean this.
Exactly. I'm glad you know. But even that, honestly, I love the idea the NBA had to kind of even throw in that play-in option, because that gave us a great game on Sunday with Portland and Memphis. I mean, the young guy Ja Morant out there balling, because it's a win or go home situation for him. And same game, CJ McCollum going absolutely bananas, saying you can't blank and guard me. So much so that in the press conference, the reporter tried to be nice, and he was like, "No, say what I said."
Say what I said. Bro, you gotta. I'm telling you, bro. This feels like the reg, like the park. This is like the park, man. Right. This is.
And you look in the East. I mean, Toronto came out. Toronto, played a little bit earlier today, and I thought that was gonna beat Brooklyn by 50 points at one time. You got series like that. The series with Indianapolis, Indiana, and Miami, that can be a good one. I mean,
I'm gonna tell you what I'm watching, bro. That Rockets Thunder series. Yeah. That's what because CP got something to prove right now, man.
Hey, CP might mess around and drop 50 game one.
You know that meme where CP be like he's like the fake smile. That's the energy I feel CP coming off for this Rockets series. I'm trying to tell you, dude finna hoop. This dude, he been my favorite point guard for years. Yeah. This dude finna go off.
Right. Off. Because, hey, look, you mentioned the CP is one of those guys where it's like, okay, look, he's great. He ain't been able to really just do it. And his arch nemesis ain't there in Steph Curry. So that's one less person he got to worry about. So, look, like you said, and especially against a team like Houston, they could, I wouldn't even say mess around because it wouldn't be an upset. Don't be surprised if they beat Houston in 6.
They get bumped. Yeah, facts. Chris, bro, people didn't expect him to even be in the playoffs this year.
Right. He was a shot. Hey, and since you're talking about people who weren't expected to be in the playoffs, look at Toronto. 2 seed after losing Kawhi Leonard, losing a defensive MVP, a 2-time NBA Finals MVP, and Nick Nurse somehow has that team in the 2 seed. And
right.
To be honest, Milwaukee has a great history of choking, especially with Giannis. Sorry. It's going to be either Boston or Toronto, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's Toronto that, kind of takes it, in the East. And like I said, the way they're playing right now, the way they were playing earlier today in Game 1, there's no way you can convince me that as far as the East Conference is concerned, that anybody's going to beat them.
The East is because, you can never sleep on Milwaukee, man. They play such great basketball. They really play great basketball. Toronto looks very, very good. The fact that you're still this good without Kawhi is absolutely amazing. but you cannot sleep on the Celtics. Come on, man. Jason Tatum and Jalen, them boys nice, man. Them boys nice. I don't know. I can't put money on who, because my guess is obviously Toronto runs to the Celtics in the next series. I think the Celtics are going to beat the 76ers. So
without
it might be the series of the year right there. So it's really interesting to see how this goes, man. I really do, man. I think this is the most fun I've seen in basketball since probably the lockout year when they started on Christmas.
Right.
I had so much because every game counted, and you see the intensity. You see the only person taking games off is LeBron. He just relaxing because he's been waiting for the playoffs. I think now we're about to see LeBron go into LeBron mode for real because LeBron really been chilling. He really been, he got his numbers, but he hasn't been like Bron yet. So I think it's coming.
But I mean, you mentioned it. You got teams. Okay, LeBron has kind of been chilling, and some of these teams, i.e., Portland, have been in playoff mode since they started because they could not afford to lose.
Right.
We've seen teams get beat in situations like that where, okay, the last couple weeks of the regular season, they know they got the 1 seed locked up or the 2 seed or whatever, and the team that they're playing in the playoffs has been fighting for their playoff lives for the past couple weeks. They've been in playoff mode, and their intensity is already there. That can lead to an upset. I'm not saying that Portland's going to beat the Lakers. I wouldn't say that. But you have that possibility of, okay, somebody can get upset in a situation like that.
Right. No, I agree, man. I think these playoffs are going to be so fun to watch just because there's so much competition, like we were saying earlier. Going into it, all we talked about was the Lakers and the Clippers. You know what I mean? Like the Lakers and the Clippers. Dude, teams on a mission, bro. Yeah. Portland's on a mission. Yeah. You look at on the other side, like Utah, Utah's on a mission. Like Utah's trying to show y'all they can hoop. I'm sorry, I keep saying Denver. Excuse me, the Nuggets. The Nuggets, yeah, my bad. The Nuggets are again, that game I saw today, them boys want to – they're not playing for first round only. They're playing to try to carry something and surprise some teams. Again, I still think CP3 might mess around and bump the Rockets. So it's crazy. Yeah. It is crazy. And we all know playoff Harden ain't, but there's no strip clubs for them to get distracted in, so we'll see. We'll see. Because we have been to Houston strip clubs.
A few times.
I've never been. I'm sorry. I'm a Christian. What are you talking about? But anyway.
I'm talking about Harden. Sorry.
But yeah, this is by far going to be the best playoff series we've seen in years. And what I do too love, again, we don't have that aspect of just waiting for the Warriors to kill everybody and LeBron to meet them there. Like, this is real competition back. This is good. This is what basketball's about. This is what playoffs about. We don't really know. There is no for sure winner here. I love it.
And one of the other things that we have, this year as opposed to everything else, there's no true home court advantage. There, normal circumstances, somebody going into Utah, it's pretty loud in there. You go to Oklahoma City, it's pretty loud in there. The Thunder,
it's racist in Utah too. It's racist in Utah too.
Exactly. Fans yelling the N-word at you, when you're shooting free throws. You don't have to worry about that.
I'm sure they're gonna put it on the sound effects, when the Utah has a home game, but throw an N-word in there a couple times, just so everybody feels comfortable. Everybody feels like at home.
We get Russell Westbrook mad again.
Yeah. They have a kid touching them on the sideline or something.
But, you think about it. You go to places like, to L.A., the Staples Center for, Lakers and Clippers games now, and how Rockets gets in there. You go to Milwaukee, Boston, Philly, those, big-level organizations, it gets loud in there, and you don't have that. You can pump in crowd noise. You can kind of simulate it. But, sound coming out of the speakers is nothing compared to 20,000 people yelling in your ear. You look at a big moment from last year was when Kawhi hit that shot against Philly. I bet that was a deafening silence. Or, when Dame hit that shot against OKC, same thing, deafening noise in there. Now,
I was curious to see how players will react to not having that extra, because you have the sound, but I'm sure it's not the same as actually feeling that energy that you feel having those fans. So I was again watching that game today, the Jazz, the Utah and Denver game. I think it's not going to have the effect that everyone thinks it's going to have. This is I keep saying it. It feels like the wreck.
Yeah.
It feels like Brian Mills is about to pop up at any moment, and make sure the refs are doing their job. And we're going to keep hooping, bro. That's what it feels like. We don't need no fans. We don't need no whatever. We hooping. This is straight basketball, man. This is like from being on the court outside, competition, talking your mess, talking your ish.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Just that real pure intense. Yeah.
But I'm like you. I love it. I'm glad it's finally happening. I'm glad we finally got playoff basketball back. Albeit in August. I don't care. I'm glad it's on TV. And while I'm at it, shout out to the Mavericks. I hope they can come out and shock the world. It ain't gonna happen.
Hey,
I just want to see
Luka. You got to get that man his credit, boy. Luka's absolute problem.
Yeah, now,
absolute problem.
I will say this, and this is not me being a homer. You know, you got Luka and KP both making the all bubble team. You know, you got Kawhi and Paul George over there. I'm not saying it's. Again, I love my Mavericks.
No, it's going to be a real competition. That's not going to be a walk in the park for the Clippers.
And I'm interested to see and this is not just with Luka and KP. This is just in general how these young guys react to stuff like this. We saw John Morant and how he reacted and how he kind of stepped up. His team didn't make it, but his team also ran into a buzzsaw. But you got guys like Luka and KP. Donovan Mitchell, who's been here a couple of times, but, just to see his progression and, those young guys, your Jason Tatums and guys like that it's like, okay, look, we know what you got, but we want to see it when it matters the most in the 7-game series where somebody can game plan for you 7 times and you got to be able to beat them. If you can do that's the true mark of a champion. And I'm interested to see how these young guys kind of, step up to the task.
Well, I will say this: you got Rick Carlisle leading that team, man. Rick's a smart dude. So again, don't be surprised if Dallas mess around and win some games they probably shouldn't have won. I'm really excited to watch Dallas. Actually, it's fun seeing. Obviously, we all lived in Dallas when they won the championship, and since then, I don't feel like Dallas has ever been that competitive since, in a way. So it is nice seeing Dallas actually carry some weight again, actually be a threat, actually, again, I'm not a Mavericks fan, but I always root for him, being, Dallasite, whatever we are. But, yeah. So I'm very excited to see Luka, his growth, and I'm excited to see how he handles himself in the playoffs against a tough team for sure.
Yeah. I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad to see it too. I'm glad the basketball is back. One more thing before we get out of here. Another thing I'm happy to see. We're going to shift real quick to the NFL. Alex Smith had that gruesome injury back in 2018, missed all of 2019. Has finally been cleared to play for Washington again. He had that video, the great video with his kids and his wife, spraying with champagne, celebrating. So my thing is, one, I'm glad to see he's back. I'm really glad to see that. Like that's no shade. Obviously I don't like Washington as a Cowboys fan, but I'm glad to see that he recovered enough to be able to be cleared to play. But my question is, because just the way he looked walking in that video kind of scared me a little bit. I don't know how he's going to drive a football, 30 yards on the spot, or how he's going to, be able to deal with somebody falling on him.
Well, Alex Smith don't hold the ball long anyway. He a dinker and dunker. So I'm sure he's going to continue to do what he was doing before, which is quick and easy. An injury like that, man, it's crazy to think that this man's going to come back and play. Right. At some point, I can't say I would be rushing back, But of course, it's different when he's a football player at the end of the day. Yeah. That's what he when you signed up to get on that field, you kind of knew the risk, you know what I mean? And so like you said, first of all, definitely happy to see him back, man. I remember that injury. We was watching that game. I remember. So definitely glad to see him back. But I just hope that he doesn't rush back if he's not, because you're clear doesn't mean you're ready to actually, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, him walking, he still looks a little ginger, still looks like he's rebuilding that leg, man. So I hope he definitely takes the time to do this thing there. But if he gets back on the field and plays, man, I wish him the best for sure. No matter who he's playing for, just human. You're human before you're a Redskin. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not a Redskin, but whatever. The Washington football team member, yeah. I'm like you. Like I said, I do not like Washington as far as football is concerned. But, like I said, I'm glad to see him, at the very least able to, first of all, alive. Let's start there. Yeah, facts.
Keeping all of his leg, because that was an issue. then being able to walk and run and, be able to plant on that leg and throw a football. Because, 2 years ago, that was, you talk about, being able to play at the highest level. That wasn't even an afterthought of an afterthought. That was like, okay, let's not even worry about that. Let's make sure this man lives.
Yeah, facts.
So I'm glad to see him, cleared to play. I'm glad to see he's been able to come back. I do hope to see him on the field. But I'll be honest, it's gonna be a little scary seeing it because you understand what has happened, and you kind of you know the whole story of what's going on there. And what I would hate to see is he get hurt again and he injure that leg, because then he's done.
Yeah, like I said, they literally talked about cutting that leg off, man.
Yeah,
they talking about cutting that leg off at one point. So the fact that he even, well, just that video we saw is amazing. Honestly, just the video of him with his kids. That's why I feel like it's twice I haven't said, man, maybe people shouldn't be playing. So everybody, I'm the biggest football fan out there. I love football, but after seeing again that man, it's a miracle he's even walking. And seeing that video with his kids was amazing. So I don't know why he's rushing to get back on that field, man. You got the money already.
Yeah,
you got the money already. Like, some things are bigger than football, man. You got family, you got wife and kids. So I pray that whenever he gets back on the field, he's 100 and stays healthy, man. Because that if you've never seen, you can Google that injury. That thing was bad.
Yeah, I'll pass. I'll pass. I'll pass.
Some people into that stuff, they're weird.
But it is what it is. But with that being said, we are done for today. We're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna let you go. Do whatever you got to do. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like the video, leave a comment. If you feel like we said something stupid, because I'm sure we did, let us know. Follow the Instagram and the Twitter. Catch the website at mrightreport.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Find me on Facebook. Thank you guys so much. Dez, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Hey, man, arrest the murderers of Breonna Taylor. I'm still on that. I ain't forgot.
Absolutely.
Besides that, go
Cougs and go vote. Thank you guys so much. Peace.
Also.